Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, who live shows us like source peasants, vassals, fugitives. I'm a useful idiot. Today I want to talk about this company, Booz Allen Hamilton. And their name has been in the headlines recently because Edward Snowden, the infamous whistleblower, was hired by Booz Allen Hamilton, and this is where he got access to all that material because of a contract with the NSA. And a close look at Booz Allen Hamilton has turned out to be kind of interesting, particularly because of some of the people involved. But I'll get to that later. So, like I like to do, let's kind of run down a little bit of history first. The original Booz Allen Hamilton, or actually they were called Booz, Fry, Allen, and Hamilton, was a company that was formed in 1914. And then they were a consulting firm, and by 1940, the government turned to Booz, Fry, Allen, and Hamilton in Chicago, and whose biggest clients at that point were Goodyear, Tire, and Rubber in Montgomery Ward. So they were actually just a management consulting firm up to that point. In 1940, previous to Pearl Harbor and previous to our war with Germany, the Booz, Fry, Allen, and Hamilton worked with Navy planners, and they developed a special sensor system that could track U-boat radio communications. So this obviously was a huge advantage during World War II, and the United States was able to basically nullify and check the advantage that Germany had with its U-boats. And so that was a huge boon, and Booz Allen Hamilton has had government contracts ever since then, although they also are noted for huge civilian management consulting operations, and some of them are kind of interesting. One of them was the advising the breakup of AT&T, and they also helped organize the National Football League in the 1960s. And then, rather ironically, in 1998 they helped the IRS modernize. And I actually remember back in 1998 when Booz Allen Hamilton was hired to modernize the IRS. They had a lot of problems with all the computer systems that ended up getting installed. And then, of course, Booz Allen Hamilton in the last decade or so has been involved in numerous scandals like a lot of other contractors that work for the government. So in 2006, under the Bush administration, they were enveloped in controversy over the SWIFT surveillance program, which is highlighted in another one of my videos. And in 2007, there was a lot of controversy over the revolving door between government and these private contractors, and that'll become more apparent when I read off some lists at the end. But that's no surprise. I mean, that's one of the things that's at the heart of this story and the heart of a lot of problems that we have with the government and corporate partnership, and that is the revolving door back and forth. The government full of corporate people who serve the corporate interests while they're in the government, and the government people who go to corporations and serve corporate interests while they are working for corporations. And in June 2007, the Department of Homeland Security, this is where things get interesting. In 2007, June, Department of Homeland Security had a contract with Booz Allen Hamilton that went from $2 million to $70 million in a heartbeat, in 2 no-bid contracts. And this is how it works in the intelligence, well, actually just government contracting in general, particularly military contracting, in the new security surveillance field that's exploded. A lot of these companies are just seeing their bottom lines and their profits explode. And it's pretty self-explanatory when you have this revolving door between government and corporations. And they'll inflate all of this, including the so-called war on terror, in order to inflate their profits. Like I mentioned in the previous video, $75 billion a year being spent on our intelligence community, and what do we really have to show for it other than lined pockets and full bank accounts of people that are in the security industry, including a lot of people that work for our government. And in 2008, Booz Allen Hamilton split off its less lucrative commercial consulting arm, and that's when the huge government contractor got a life of its own. So the civilian contracting apparatus of Booz Allen Hamilton split off, and then the rest of the company has become a pure government contractor, publicly traded and majority owned by the private equity firm Carlyle Group. And this connection with Carlyle Group just drives home what I already said about this government corporate partnership, because Carlyle Group is another private equity firm that is full of ex-government people, and so they milk these connections they get for all they're worth. And so we have the Carlyle Group, which has associations with James Baker and George Herbert Walker Bush, and they own Booz, Allen, and Hamilton. And in fiscal year ending in March 2013, Booz, Allen, Hamilton reported $5.76 billion in revenue, 99% of it from government contracts. So no wonder certain members of government refer to Booz, Allen, and Hamilton as just another part of the shadow intelligence industry. And a quarter of that revenue, $1.3 billion, was from U.S. intelligence agencies, and is another indicator that we have a massive amount of private contractors who are working in U.S. intelligence. And certainly the government realizes the pitfalls of that now with this Edward Snowden episode. But we should all realize what the pitfalls of this are, having this corporate government partnership involved in our intelligence community. And the government is the sole client of Booz, Allen, Hamilton, and so they don't have to do any lobbying. So they save a lot of money having to lobby. And they're also in Fairfax, Virginia. So like all these other groups, they're part of the recession-proof area around Washington, D.C., where all these lobbyists live, where all these private contractors live, where all this intelligence community lives. So they're all part of that bonanza. In fact, they have 25,000 employees, and 76% of them have top classified clearance. And no wonder, once again, they have a problem with someone like Edward Snowden. And by 2013, 70% of all U.S. intelligence budget is contracted out to private contractors. So, as I say, that's a problem in itself. But let's get to some of these interesting connections. We're talking about the revolving door between the government and corporations, particularly a company like Booz, Allen, Hamilton. Turns out that the guy at center stage, talking about this NSA scandal, James Clapper, our Director of National Intelligence, is a former Booz Allen executive. So interesting connection there with the Edward Snowden case, that his persecutor in the NSA is a guy that used to work for the same company that he did. And then under Bush, the Director of National Intelligence was Mike McConnell, and he was also a former vice chairman of Booz Allen, and also the former director of the NSA before that. And then we have Joan Dempsey, former deputy CIA director. She now works for Booz Allen, so there's the revolving door back and forth. And James Woolsey Jr., the director of the CIA in the Clinton administration between 1993 and 1995, was also a Booz Allen executive. But the list of people that are going in and out of government corporate revolving door is pretty extensive. If we just look at Booz Allen Hamilton alone, people that used to work for Booz Allen Hamilton went on to become the commander of the United States Coast Guard, the founding member of the OSS, the predecessor to our CIA, the director of the National Reconnaissance Office, the deputy administrator at NASA, the chief financial officer at the Department of Energy, the head of media relations at the CIA, the chief financial officer at the Department of Health and Human Services, the director of national cybersecurity, the commander of U.S. Southern Command, and the undersecretary of defense. So all these people used to work for Booz Allen Hamilton in the private sector and government contracting, and then they get all these lucrative government positions. And then we also have people that work for Booz Allen Hamilton in this close relationship with the government that move on to lucrative private careers. And that includes the executive vice president of Barclays Bank, the chief global operating officer of Barclays Bank, the co-founder of Athena Health, the director of Standard Chartered Bank of Malaysia, the senior vice president of MTV and VH1, the vice president of Honeywell, the senior vice president of Bank of America, the vice president of Yahoo, the chairman at Hewlett-Packard, the vice president of Universal Studios, the president of Standard & Poor's, the rating agency, and the vice president of McGraw-Hill, the publishing house. So certainly on the surface, this looks to be just people who gather experience in the corporate sector at Booz Allen Hamilton, and then use that experience and move into either government work or other corporate work where their skills can be applied. But another way to look at this is the fact that once they work for Booz Allen Hamilton, and then they network, and then they work for the government, whose interests are they going to serve? Are they going to serve their government interests? Are they going to serve corporate interests? Or are they going to serve a combination of the both? Certainly when you have military contractors and government connections, and then you have people that go on to lead some of the largest banks in the world, the largest media networks in the world, the largest corporations in the world, the rating agencies, publishing houses. It certainly creates vast potential for conflict of interest. And that's what this corporate government partnership is all about. That's what this revolving door culture that we have in the United States. And that's creates a whole bunch of moral hazards, a whole bunch of conflicts of interest, and certainly the American people's needs are not getting serviced by this crowd. So there's a little look at Booz Allen Hamilton, the company that Edward Snowden used to work for, and pretty interesting that he came out and said that he took that job merely to find out and expose how much NSA surveillance was going on, which is an interesting story in itself. And anyway, Snowden is on the run, as we all know, and Booz Allen Hamilton is in an uproar. And boy, there's James Clapper, head of the NSA, former Booz Allen Hamilton executive, now chasing after former employee at Booz Allen Hamilton, Edward Snowden. So, I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.